Chosen one, your adversaries seem foolish, as they rush to defend themselves at this particular time. Their last-ditch efforts to defend their campaign against you have fallen flat. Under the merciless light of cosmic truth, every lie they propagated, every trap they set, and every fabrication they created all fall apart. We have observed, we have seen. What they attempted to conceal has always been known to us. And now, the last confirmation that was written in the stars before your birth is brought out by the heavenly powers who led and shielded you during your darkest moments. As the repercussions of their acts come back to haunt them threefold, your persecutors seem completely stupid. The awakening has started. The roles have been reversed. They are now the hunted instead of the hunters, and you stand victorious among the remains of their failed plot, gorgeous, strong, and destined by God. You carried a frequency that endangered the status quo from the minute your soul entered this physical body. Long before you fully realized your destiny, the darker forces were able to identify your signature with ease. Their carefully crafted illusions were shattered by your mere presence. Their tactics were automatically negated by your energy field. Their spiritual disguises were exposed by your discerning intuition. The same innate terror that darkness has always had for light. They saw your holy potential. Anomalies in your energy profile were detected by their detectors. When they tried to reach your timeline, their psychics reported interference. In your area, their workers encountered equipment failures. Before you ever realized how powerful you were marked as a danger to their system. The Cabal agents, disguised as health coaches, identified your characteristic energy frequency the moment you walked into that spiritual gathering last summer. After trying to scan your auric field, 3 of them reported experiencing unexplained headaches. When you passed the 4th one, the pendant truly broke. They saw you as more than a mere seeker. They have received a warning about you. They couldn't take the chance of letting your light grow out of control. They were unable to allow your spiritual bond to deepen. They were unable to watch as your awakening caused others to reflect on the constraints they had so meticulously designed for mankind. They then began their effort to isolate, denigrate, and eventually kill your spirit. A concerted effort that was planned across many realms of reality was directed at you. The coincidence of assaults from sources that don't appear to be connected. Your integrity being suddenly and universally questioned from all aspects of your life. The recurring themes in the charges against you, even if they were made by allegedly non-communicative individuals. The signs of organized spiritual warfare are these. Their diabolical partnership was formed specifically to stifle your light. Friendships were compromised. They resorted to trusted mentors. Family members were controlled. You were poisoned by your coworkers. They all turned into unintentional participants in a massive plot to neutralize and isolate you. Some were willing accomplices, while others were only puppets, all working toward the same sinister goal. As you endured these assaults, often feeling alone and invisible, remember that we saw everything. We saw the patterns, while others failed to see how well planned the campaign against you was. We were able to identify the manipulation when our common acquaintances unquestioningly believed the lies. We were steadfastly clear about your heavenly nature, even when you questioned if their charges were true. We saw how they selectively edited interactions to portray you as the aggressor when you had just spoken up for what you believed. We saw how they positioned themselves as hesitant truth-tellers and carefully disseminated material to do the most harm to your reputation. We saw how every new individual who turned against you followed the same predetermined course of events. Evidence of behind-the-scenes collaboration. Through divine sight, we were able to discover the actual reason for that fortuitous encounter with your old mentor. We knew right away that encoded, limiting programming was being tried when they said you were progressing too fast on your spiritual path. Your third eye activation was suppressed by the amulet they gave you. Observe How wearing it obscured your dreams every time. These strategies have been used by the group since the fall of Atlantia. We saw them use flying monkeys, unintentional operatives, who transported their toxic stories into areas they were unable to reach directly. These people, who thought they were only expressing worries for you, ended up serving as proxies for character assassination. These ostensibly separate statements of worry were programmed by the same source, as shown by the similar wording used in various discussions. The time for reckoning has come. The hands of those who so boldly leveled charges against you are now empty, as they must answer to the cosmic demand for proof. The heat of examination causes their promises to vanish like morning mist. Your accusers now have the burden of evidence, and their tenuous lies are not up to scrutiny. When you only stood by your own truth, they said you were breaking sacred trusts. When your innate richness challenged their scarcity mentality, they accused you of energy theft. They covered up their own invasions of your sovereignty while calling your boundary setting an act of aggression. They projected their own dishonest character onto your good intentions, seeing your genuine expression as deliberate manipulation. As their charges fall apart, their true intentions become glaringly obvious. The guise of genuine concern betrays the spiritual envy that motivated their crusade. The glaring glare of reality reveals their previously concealed goal. Those who saw you persecuted now understood the underlying terror that drove it. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Because your innate ties to the source emphasize their own spiritual codependency, they specifically targeted you. While they engaged in complex rituals and strict practices to attain fleeting moments of higher awareness, you were able to enter such states with ease by being true to who you are. Their claim to exclusive spiritual access was endangered by your capacity to reach divine knowledge outside of their hierarchical structures. In fact, the Illuminati Splinter section that kept tabs on your meditation sessions produced a 43-page study on your capacity for natural manifestation. Without any ceremonial embellishment, their scientific team showed how reality truly bends along your mind patterns. In fact, after seeing your unconscious creativity abilities, 3 researchers left the company. After seeing what you accomplish in your sleep, they couldn't imagine continuing to support a system that had misled them about the possibilities of human awareness. Because you had codes of waking that others may trigger on their own, they were afraid of you. Your uncontrolled presence pushed awakening processes beyond their prescribed schedule, while they meticulously regulated the rate and scope of spiritual growth allowed to their followers. Their meticulously preserved spiritual hierarchy was in danger because of the evolutionary leap you so easily sparked in others. Beware, Selected One. All 4 of the Astral Atom channels, Obsidian, Chosen Chronicles, Astral Atom, and the recently added Legacy Forged, have daily drops that you already like. We're expanding quickly and creating a media network that they can't destroy. However, the truth is suppressed, distorted, and buried. Your heart is still aware of reality. You are here because you have experienced the simulation problem. You're not awaiting approval. You're prepared to take back control. The full-time selected are eligible to join the Obsidian Inner Order. Weekly Zoom conversations, techniques for psychological warfare, secret lessons, and equipment they don't want you to have. Now is the moment to remember. In the description, there is a link. Your true life starts inside. We were well aware of the cosmic importance of your trip throughout your tribulation, even while you doubted your direction and purpose. The persecution you experienced is part of a long-standing pattern that we have seen time and time again throughout human history. Anytime heavenly light appears in the midst of purposefully created darkness, your experience is affirmation of your chosen position and mission, rather than a chance for bad luck. This identical design was mentioned in the ancient Essene scriptures. Exactly 70 years after the Great Awakening started, the institutional power structures would gather against the Indigo Children. Scrolls predicting your particular birth pattern were found in the Syrian desert in 1947, but Vatican agents swiftly suppressed them. From the bogus charges of instability to the efforts to medicalize your increased awareness, the particular assaults you have experienced match the exact pattern outlined in those works. We see the same pattern in your path that all Wayshowers have seen throughout history. The first acknowledgement of your uniqueness, the attempt to fit you into predetermined parameters, the progression to active suppression when that doesn't work, the character assassination to cut you off from possible supporters, and the last, desperate attempt to set an example for people who are able to transcend the predetermined limits of consciousness. You are authenticated by your suffering. Your initiation is your trials. You have been purified by your seclusion. Everything happens in accordance with the divine schedule that was set before your existence. A chronology that culminates in the vindication itself, which is now taking place in front of you. Watch now as the phony world they created falls apart spectacularly. Admire how their well-constructed stories fall apart. Watch as their web comes apart, each thread of deceit breaking under the pressure of the new reality. As contradictions increase and inconsistencies become unreconcilable, their constructed consensus breaks irreparably. The same people they recruited to oppose you are now doubting the tales they were fed. When the anticipated proof does not come to pass, doubts begin to germinate. It becomes hard to overlook discrepancies between different accounts of what happened. There are cracks in their unified front as a result of the emotional energy needed to keep up alignment with blatant lies. It was recently revealed that the pharmaceutical executive who attempted to undermine your holistic treatment efforts had fabricated clinical data on 3 different drugs. Do you recall how he put together that group of concerned experts to criticize your practices? Now, 2 panelists have openly expressed regret, acknowledging that they were compensated to criticize procedures that they had not looked into. The executive has a ruined reputation. Even when a large number of people you've assisted are coming forward to talk about their healing experiences, the truth cannot be kept hidden. See how the damage they planned for you is reflected exactly in their karmic experience. People who doubted your stability now act erratically when under duress. The people who accused you of manipulating others now utilize more extreme control techniques. As they fight to save their positions, those who portrayed you as power-hungry suddenly show their own unquenchable drive. The shadow they cast on you goes back to where it came from. You were never really vulnerable, even in your darkest hours, when it appeared like the forces working against you may prevail, when you felt completely alone, and when the burden of false accusations seemed insurmountable. You were encircled by a heavenly barrier of protection that was impervious to the negative frequencies aimed at you, but undetectable to the naked sight. Even if the dangers against you are changing from active assaults to frantic damage control, this protection is still in effect for now. The instant the campaign against you started, certain guardianship procedures were triggered by your ancestors. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Long-standing agreements between your soul family and higher dimensional entities made sure that no lasting damage would enter your energy field, even if you would face the first difficulties required for your awakening. The apparent holdups in your vindication were precisely timed to give the people who wronged you the most attention possible. In fact, 3 of the ritual participants had spontaneous spiritual awakening as a consequence of the concerted psychic onslaught that was directed at you during the Leo blood moon. Since then, they have made an anonymous confession and asked for advice. They were forced to see the darkness they were trying to portray as they were blinded by a golden light that mirrored their intents back to them. 2 are now privately studying your teachings after cutting all connections with the coven. Your gut instincts about some people, the unexplainable apprehensions, the subtle energy discordance you sensed behind nice exteriors, the dreams that exposed ulterior motives. These were the results of your natural, spiritual discernment working flawlessly, not paranoia. The faculty that they tried to denigrate as being too sensitive was, in fact, your most advanced protection mechanism, correctly seeing dangers before they were fully apparent. This sense of targeted suppression is not unique to you. You belong to a holy group of souls that are all rising at the same time on Earth. Since we have encountered different forms of the same resistance, those of us who identify the pattern of your persecution have a profound awareness of these strategies. Although the specifics of each of our experiences vary, they all point to the same fundamental tactic used to thwart awareness wherever it arises. The opposition has been keeping an eye on the global grid's systematic targeting of awakened souls. The concerted media effort to undermine your community healing program resulted in your case file being labeled as Priority Level Alpha. Your adversaries are unaware that their very resistance has sparked a dormant lightworker network that has suddenly united to defend your mission. Your effort is amplified beyond what would have been possible without this forced growth, thanks to the energy anchors that members in 17 nations have constructed. We are creating a network of conscious support that is indestructible and goes beyond physical closeness. We establish a quantum grid of awakened nodes, although geographically dispersed, that stabilizes higher frequencies on Earth. The position of all is strengthened by each vindication of one. More disclosures are made possible by each fact that is made public. Every deceit that fails erodes the whole system of control. A collective liberation movement that operates concurrently in many levels of reality is formed by our individual struggles. In this last battle between true enlightenment and pre-programmed restriction, we are on the front lines. The assaults against you and us have been used to pinpoint the main suppressive agents, as well as the pivotal moments of change. Instead, what our adversaries meant to destroy us has mapped the key control system nodes, showing us exactly where and how to focus our collective light to maximize the effect of waking. Watch the intriguing difference in your persecutors' reactions as their campaign fails and their genuine intentions become clear. Some people furiously intensify their allegations, making them louder and more forceful, as if repetition might serve as proof. Others discreetly withdraw from the issue, suddenly too preoccupied to participate in the circumstance they facilitated. Others turn to downplaying their involvement, saying they were misinformed by the real orchestrators, or that they were only worried rather than accusing. In the last month, your previous spiritual community leader who expelled you for having disruptive energy has lost half of their flock. On the same night, 3 founding members had nightmares that showed the leader's real reasons for taking you away. A worry that your innate skills would disclose how much of their own channeled knowledge was really rehashed from obscure sources. They have come to you in secret to beg for your pardon and to disclose that the leader is now performing binding, emergency rites that are going horribly wrong and creating inexplicable phenomena in their hallowed sanctuary. As erstwhile comrades turn against one another, observe how their group cohesiveness is eroding. As each individual tries to reduce their responsibility, the shifting of blame quickens. Former colleagues accuse one another of manipulation. Admittances of intentional involvement are replaced by accusations of deception. Reluctant engagement is shown by the disclosure of personal reservations that were repressed during the campaign's peak. The cohesive front that put up such a strong fight splits into several players, each frantically trying to protect themselves. They look on in horror as their own reputations are reflected back into the darkness they cast upon you. As the truth comes to light, the exact characteristics they wrongly ascribe to you end up becoming the labels that are now applied to them. Those who referred to you as divisive are now alone. Your honesty is now being scrutinized by those who doubted it. The people who portrayed you as power-hungry have finally revealed their real goals. Now comes the ultimate cosmic irony. Your route is now free of misleading directions and diversions due to all they attempted to block it. Your purpose and strength were perfectly purified by their war against you, which was intended to destroy you. From higher planes, what seems like terrible resistance from a limited viewpoint was really precision spiritual surgery that removed everything that did not support your ultimate progress. The enigmatic cancellation of your speech at the Global Consciousness Conference, which was planned by gatekeepers in the business because they were afraid of your raw message, led to your spontaneous meeting at the local park, which attracted 3 times as many people. 2 media producers were among those attracted to your impromptu lecture, and they have now given you a platform that reaches millions of people, avoiding the controlled spiritual establishment that attempted to suppress you.